Yeah, so my name's Alison and I'm the clinical nurse specialist for lung cancer here at Velindre. So when I was in school, I wanted to go into some form of healthcare. When I got a little bit older, I wanted to work in healthcare and mental health. So I ended up applying to do psychology at University of Glasgow. But my cousin was actually a mental health nurse in London at the time when I was at university, and it was mainly through speaking to her that I decided that nursing was really something I was really interested in. Originally, when I went to do my nurse training, I actually went to do qualification as a mental health nurse, but I went into nursing and I also had a really strong interest in research as well. That's how I actually ended up in my first role in Velindre, was I came to work here as a research nurse in 2013. So as I had been working there a little bit longer and sort of over time, I started to provide a little bit more support to the lung cancer portfolio here, which is where my initial involvement in the lung cancer patient group came from. Someone got in touch with me to let me know that the CNS role for the lung cancer patients was coming up here. So there'd never been a lung CNS here in Velindre prior to me starting, so this was a new role to the cancer centre, and I started here, I think it was 31st of December 2018, so about 5 or 6 years ago now. So I think the biggest difference was obviously a lot more of the supportive care nature, the supportive role of the clinical nurse specialist aspect of things. CNS role, I think, is a lot more around obviously holistic side of patient care, so obviously sort of psychological support, emotional support, things like sort of finances, housing. There's a lot more of a holistic component to the CNS role. In some ways, starting in a new role where you're the first person in the role and there's no one been there before you, in some ways is very stressful because obviously you have to sort of set your own timetable, develop your own role, but it's also really rewarding because you can make the role your own, you can see where there's gaps in terms of patient care, and then you can sort of take the lead in terms of developing the service and what you think will be most beneficial for patient care. And PhD was something I'd always thought about. I was always really keen to sort of take forward my own piece of research. I was obviously made aware of the Velindre Research Fellowship programme, I think last year when it first started running, but at that point I didn't quite feel ready in terms of my research idea, etc. But obviously when it came out last year, I was lucky enough to get a place on the fellowship, so I started that in the middle of January this year. So my journey hasn't been, I think, very straightforward. I don't think it's what most people would typically think of when they think of career pathway for a nurse going to CNS. So I hope that my career pathway shows people that actually there isn't a one single way to become a CNS, and I think that because it's such a varied job and there's so many different things that you have to consider in your role, that actually having a little bit of a non-traditional route to the CNS role can actually be really beneficial.
Hi, I'm Mick Button, one of the doctors working in Velindre Cancer Services. It's a real privilege to be here today just to say a few words about our amazing clinical nurse specialist team who we work so closely with. I know day in, day out, I totally rely on the work that they do. And I'd like to say a huge thank you from all the medical staff, everyone else who works with you, and all the patients and families who you support all the time. You're an amazing group. We love working with you. Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you so much.